Hi folks, I'm Mary with Oakland County Parks and Recreation's Nature Education Team. Each week we're going to be releasing a video, activity, and craft on a different topic. This week we're going to be learning a little bit about frogs and toads with Melissa and myself. And let's hop to it. Like all amphibians, frogs and toads start their lives as eggs in the water. Typically, the adult frogs and toads will lay their eggs in a vernal pond, which is a pond that appears in springtime. But some frogs like the bullfrog actually need 2 years to go through their metamorphosis. So those ponds, they need ones that stay all year round. So after they hatch out of their eggs, they're a little tadpole, or sometimes they're called a pollywog. Salamander babies are actually called efts. And so they swim around, and first they grow their little back legs, and then they'll grow their front arms. Slowly over time, they absorb their tail, and they use those nutrients and things to grow other parts of their body. And then they one day turn into a little froglet or toadlet, and they crawl out of the water, and they start living their lives on land and using their lungs to breathe air. Now, some species spend the majority of their lives in the water, like bullfrogs or green frogs. And those frogs use their skin to breathe, which is really cool, a great adaptation for them. But toads spend more of their life on land, and they primarily use their lungs.
We're here at the vernal pool, and I also wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what the eggs that frogs and toads look like when they're laid in the water. Frogs will lay clumps of eggs that look like tapioca pudding, and sometimes they will attach to reeds or sticks or something like that that is in the water with the eggs. Sometimes they just float around in the pond as well. So, and then toads will lay strings of eggs along that are connected by this jelly substance, and it helps keep them moist and everything. So most of them are transparent. So if you happen to find some, you can see through them, and you can see the little tadpole forming inside the egg. And but like we said, there are lots of things that we put on our hands that don't harm us, but will harm them. So please, 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 whatever you do, try not to handle any adult amphibians, tadpoles, or their eggs.
Hi folks, I just wanted to share with you our toad here that we keep at the Nature Center for programs and for our display. Now, we put him, he does not live in this container. He has a terrarium that he has lots of substrate in for himself to burrow down and hide. He has a water dish that we clean all the time, so he's always got access to clean water. He's got lots of things to hide in his enclosure, and lots of foliage and things, so that he feels safe inside of the tank. He's just in here so we can see him today, and we'll get you some close-up shots in just a minute. So I wanted to talk with you about some of the differences between frogs and toads. So they start their lives very much the same in the water, but once they're on land, you'll notice some differences. The first difference that I usually notice is that frogs have very long legs, and their method of moving is to leap. And they can leap after prey, and they can also leap away from predators. So toads, on the other hand, they do more of a little hop because they have short legs, but they're kind of better at crawling around on the ground and crawling over obstacles. So you'll see he has some beefy front arms here and some little itty bitty legs. So another thing that's different about frogs and toads is that frogs have very moist, wet skin, and they breathe through their skin a lot, especially when they're in the water. Whereas toads mostly use their lungs, and they have dry, bumpy skin. They have poison glands actually behind their eyes, and these poison glands look like warts, and their skin looks like it has warts on it. And here's a myth buster for you. A lot of people think that toads will give you warts, but that's not reality. They just have bumpy skin. They may secrete a liquid on you, and that's just pee. And it's to try and scare you off because they think that you're a predator and you might eat them. We want to make sure that we don't pick up toads in the wild because things that like hand sanitizer that might be on our hands isn't good for their skin. Because toads have much drier skin and frogs have much wetter skin, frogs prefer to be closer to, live closer to, or live in the water, except maybe tree frogs. But toads tend to live in areas that are more dry. You may even find toads around your blooming flowers because there are a lot of bugs around that like to pollinate those flowers and eat the nectar from those flowers. And so that is an easy food source for toads. And here at the Nature Center, we have a spot of milkweed that grows every year. And that milkweed gets lots of tree frogs and also spring peepers within the leaves. And we'll put some pictures in of that. And they're there for a free meal because there are tons of insects around that milkweed. So if you're ever out in your garden and you think, oh boy, it's a really good day for amphibians, check around your flowers and see if you find anything. So we're out at Independence Oaks County Park and we're looking for some frogs for you guys. And we happened to come across a wood frog, and he's very well camouflaged right now. So you folks might not be able to pick him out, but I'm gonna move towards him and hopefully you'll get to see him and he won't hop away too quickly. But as you have probably guessed by the name, wood frogs, although they're an amphibian and they do spend a lot of their time in the water, and that's where they start their lives and continue their breeding processes, they also spend a lot of their time on the forest floor and in kind of damp wooded areas. So here's our wood frog today, and yeah.
This is a darker phase of the wood frog that we just showed you. This is a green frog. They like to live in aquatic habitats. They're like other amphibians that lay their eggs in water. Hi everybody. Real quick before we go outside, I want to go over some of the frogs or toads that we might hear while we're outside. These are ones that are very common here at Independence Oaks, and we haven't seen some of them yet, but we might be able to hear them tonight. So the first one is, we have the bullfrog right here. He has a very deep sound. Let me find him on this. This is our identifier. It makes sounds for us so we can hear what they sound like. So we have the bullfrog. Okay, very deep, loud noise that we'll hear. We have the green frog, which we have been seeing those. People say that one sounds like a banjo. Okay. The wood frog right here is another one that we have. Okay. And we have been seeing those, so hopefully we'll hear those when we go outside. The northern leopard frog, and that's what this guy sounds like. Okay, and then the gray tree frog. You probably hear a lot of those outside around your house because they're all over and they're in the trees around us. The spring peeper almost kind of sounds like he's chirping. And then the chorus frog sounds like this. Okay, let's go outside and see what we can hear.
Thank you for joining us. Feel free to post your pictures and your experiences with frogs and toads in the comments below. Keep an eye on our social media because we're going to be releasing more activities and videos in the weeks to come. Make sure you check out our website as well for park hours and nature center hours, park amenities, and different programs that we might be hosting. Stay safe, get outside, and we'll see you next time.